Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
If you feel that you understand something, if you feel that there's something out there that comes to you easily and there's something that you could do to help young people, right? I mean, I'm talking from a baseball standpoint, but if there's something that you're confident in your knowledge and it's something that you think you can be good at it, go freaking get it, man. Just go get it.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
Hello and welcome to episode 52 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. A repeat guest this time, former student and player, son, brother, uncle, coach, frontline worker, and loyal boyfriend and Boston Red Sox fan, Mr. Dante Stefanelli. Dante, how are you this evening?
Doing well, Prof. That was a nice little intro.
Thank you. I spent many hours putting some words together for the intro, but I know you well, so it wasn't too difficult.
Sweet.
Hey,
how are you doing during this difficult time we got going on here?
Just trying to stay to a schedule. You know, and we've talked about this in phone conversations. Just writing it down, and then when you accomplish the task, you cross it out.
That's it.
I call it the Chris Spielman method. You know what Chris Spielman is?
I don't think so, no.
So former NFL linebacker for the Detroit Lions.
Okay.
From back in the day. I think retired in the early 90s, but he's a list guy. And his story is that unfortunately his wife became ill with cancer. And they have kids, 3 or 4 kids, 3, 4, 5 kids, I think. And he became, Mr. Mom. And the only way that he could really get through a day and be Mr. Mom was to have lists and schedules.
Really?
So he had them posted around the house and he crossed things out. So
his house is just one big whiteboard.
One big whiteboard. That's it. So
I like it.
Handling my inner Chris Spielman at this particular time. But
cool.
The question is for you. I want to know how you're dealing with it. I'm going to call you a frontline worker. Okay.
Really? Oh, all right. I like that.
Because you're working at this time, you're working more hours than you normally do.
This is true.
The first question or scenario that I have is this. The Chinese symbol for chaos, okay, is made up of 2 symbols. And what do each of these 2 symbols mean or stand for? Do you know?
I do not know.
Okay. One is danger, okay, obviously.
Okay.
And the other is possibility.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess my question is, as a frontline guy, you're put out there in a dangerous situation.
Definitely.
What, in terms of possibilities, what opportunities have you had out there on the front line that you wouldn't normally have? In other words, share some heroes and highlights during this time.
Well, I will say this. The one thing that's like kind of keeping me going is that, in the back of my head, I'm driving to work and, I'm getting my tools out and everything. And like the one thing that kind of keeps me going is I am doing something that is helping everybody. So right now I'm working in a Lysol factory, which Lysol is like one of the few things, right, that can actually play a little defense against this thing. And, me, being there and doing my job, that I guess, that definitely helps the cause.
It definitely does. And explain to the listeners or viewers what all you do. What's your 9 to 5?
So yeah, I'm a sheet metal worker, mostly ductwork installation, fabrication, stuff like that. So to put it into like simpler terms, so every building, just like a house, has an AC unit, right? Coming off of that AC unit is ductwork, right? It's metal that runs throughout the frame, right, of these places and supplies the place with air conditioning or heat.
Outstanding, and you're putting yourself in harm's way. How many layers of masks do you wear on the job?
Honestly, I should be wearing more, but really I have this neck sleeve, right? Okay. It's like like the Under Armour material. It's like that real stretchy fabric.
Yes.
It's kind of like that. It goes over my neck. I put that on over my face, like kind of like over my nose, and then I wear a mask over that. And I don't wear gloves because I've heard that like gloves are kind of ineffective. In other words, after I'm done doing whatever it is that I'm doing, it's just a matter of just, using like hand sanitizer, going to the bathroom, washing my hands, right? As long as you're keeping your hands clean, that should be okay. I don't know. I probably should be wearing gloves, honestly, but if you wear gloves, you just got to throw them away after you're done.
Right. Well
So,
said.
how many pairs of gloves are in this world here? I don't,
Quite a few. I would venture to say quite a
I'm
few.
going to be running through 10 pairs of gloves a day.
Unreal. Keeping America running. I think back in the late 80s, I think Chevrolet had a commercial, and their slogan
I
was
drive a Chevy.
"Keeping America running." Yes, you do. Is it a white Chevy?
It is a silver Chevy Avalanche.
Chevy Avalanche. You recommend it?
Maybe something a little more fuel efficient.
A little more fuel efficient. Okay. You don't want a Porsche 911, just something a little more fuel efficient.
Sure.
All right. Keeping America running. And Dante, he said this, everybody. He wants to ask me a few questions. So Dante, if you have a question pertinent to what we're talking about, please jump in and see if
the question that I probably want to save him, honestly.
Keep me on my toes.
I'm going to holster him for now.
Let's bounce out of your 9 to 5 and go into coaching. And you're currently an assistant coach on the Montville High School baseball team.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you this question. What is your why in coaching? Why do you do it?
Well, I guess there's like a few answers I guess I can give you, but the main one that I like to say is I feel in a way, I love coaching, by the way. I love what I do. It's awesome. It's the way that I look at it is the game did so much for me, for so many years. It did a lot for me. It helped me through a lot of difficult things. And in a way, I feel like I owe the game. It's the one thing in this whole world where I actually am comfortable and I actually feel like I know what the heck I'm doing, right? And I owe it to the game to relay these things to 16, 17-year-old kids, right? They deserve it. I had adults and young adults, they were there for me. You know what I mean? The guy that got me the job there at Montville is a former coach of mine.
Right. And how do you said you met him at a Seton Hall basketball game, but how did you know him previously?
So he, when I was playing football over at Whitney Park, he was the JV coach for just my freshman year. He ended up leaving us after my freshman year, but I had him for that 1 year. He was 22, 23 at the time. He was just a kid. And yeah, he was the guy. He was awesome. Ian Schwindel, he's a great guy. He's something. But I ran into him. I hadn't talked to him for a couple of years. He actually ended up going to coach over at Madison High School. So I played against him a couple times in the remainder of my high school career. And then I hadn't talked to him for a while. And then I actually bumped into him at a Seton Hall basketball game this past fall. And we were kind of just talking, whatever. And I told him that I'm coaching over at a Christian school over in Wharton. And he told me that he got the Montville job. And one thing kind of led to another, I guess.
And there you are.
He got me over there. Yeah, here I am.
In Montville. Hey, when he was coaching for Madison, how did those matchups go?
I will say the one game we had against Madison was, I think it was my junior year. It was not a bench clearing brawl, but there was a pretty good fight on the field. And he was in the other dugout, and I was sitting in our dugout. We were kind of like looking at each other. There was so much tension between the two teams, but like I couldn't take my eyes off of him because like him and I are cool. So like I was like, man, I don't want this to escalate or anything. But we have our share of hotheads on that 2012 Whitney Park baseball team, and yeah, there was a scrap the one game there, and then they actually ended up knocking us out of the state tournament my senior year. So
what year was that? 14?
I graduated. Yeah, that was 14.
14. So
yeah, so my junior year I guess would be 13. Yeah.
So you were a Wildcat quarterback from 12 to 14. Is that correct?
That is accurate.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Correct. Good. So yeah, that's your very well explained why in coaching, for sure. Now another why. Why and how did you become a Red Sox fan?
Whew. Well, I was actually born into San Diego Padres gear because of my dad. He was a Padres fan for reasons still unknown. It trickled down to my older brother. He's still a big fan. Never really landed with me. I actually, in my early years, I was I actually was a Met fan for a while because of my grandfather. He kind of like steered me in that direction. And then I recall one, I think it was the game. I want to say it was the game where Pedro threw Don Zimmer to the ground. We were watching it in his in my grandpa's living room, and that was the moment. I remember that. I don't remember the game. I don't even remember who won, but I remember Pedro Martinez in his warm-up jacket throwing an old man to the ground. And the sick, twisted individual that I am, I thought that was great, and I loved it, and I wanted to be a fan of the team.
And that was, I believe, 2004. 2004, man.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because Clemens was throwing at Manny, and then I want to say, was it Bronson Arroyo maybe? Someone, I forget how it went down, but again, I was still little at the time, and what I recall is the Pedro and Zimmer incident.
You would have been 8 years old at that time, around that age.
Yeah.
Okay, just going through numbers. So, avid Red Sox fan, obviously, and now we're going to test your Boston Red Sox knowledge in what, which, and where. Are you ready?
Okay. All right, I'm ready.
You've got no choice. We're going to start. Where are we going to start with this? Let's go. We've got three.
It's kind of funny, Pro. If I'm actually, you could give me San Diego Padres history, killer. I'll know every damn question.
Yeah. Okay.
But I could do Red Sox too. Let's go. Let's see what you got.
Okay. I might do a Padres trivia question here in a minute, but we'll see. We'll start off with this in what, which, and where. It's a quote. Who said it? The easy thing to do would be to give up, but we don't do anything easy in this clubhouse.
I'm going to go with a member of the 2013 team.
Go earlier.
Okay. Is it a World Series team?
2004 World Series team.
All right. This is my guess. I got it. All right. I'm going to go with Jason Varitek.
Very good. It's a very good guess. It's not correct. I'll do another guess on this. He is a graduate of, I don't know if he graduated from, but he played baseball at Lamar University in Texas. He is a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and he currently lives in Austin, Texas.
Resides in Texas currently. Okay. Why don't we go with Mr. Trot Nixon?
It's a good guess. He's a
0 for 2, man.
North Carolina boy.
I stink at this.
I can give you 2 words and you get it. But he's
really
he co-hosts one of your favorite TV shows currently on the MLB network.
Pedro?
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin Millar. Intentional talk. Yeah.
Old IT.
Kevin Millar, man, heck of a character, huh?
Yes. And
do you know that there's a story in 2003 when they advanced to the ALCS to go play the Yankees? They actually, when they won the ALDS, they clinched and they all gathered themselves, still in their uniforms and everything. A lot of them were still in their socks, and they ran down to the local bar, to the closest bar, and they partied with Bostonians, like just locals in their uniforms.
I believe it. I believe it. I think that's 100%.
I found that hard to believe. I mean, we live in a day where pro athletes aren't doing that anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm. They got it before social media got really, really big, right?
Exactly. That's exactly
it. 03, right? That's 17 years ago.
It's crazy. It feels like 7 years ago.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Crazy.
Okay. Now we're going to go a little bit closer to the present. Okay, with this quote. When I play video games, I'm trying to go deep on every pitch.
Sounds like something I would say. Still a Red Sox player?
Red Sox player. It's all Red Sox. All Red Sox.
I'm going to go with Clay Buchholz.
That's a great guess. It's not Clay Buchholz. This dude has been with Boston his entire career. And continues to be, because he's currently still, I believe,
he's active
on the 40-man roster. Yes.
Pedroia?
That's it. Petey Pedroia.
Love me some Petey.
Petey Pedroia.
That poor guy, man. I hope to see him back on the field one of these days, you know?
He's a grinder. He is the ultimate grinder. I hope to see
Anyone else would have given up by now.
He's not. You're gonna have to you're going to have to tear the uniform off his back to get
Absolutely.
him.
That's that's something about him. Super admirable, you know.
He's definitely full of what I call piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
Justin Pedroia. All right. I'll give you 1 for 2. 1 for 2.
I'll take it.
We're gonna reach back a little more in the past. A little more in the past. All right.
All right.
Outfielder from 74 to 89. Okay. He's from Anderson, South Carolina, and he was the 1978 MVP.
Jim Rice?
You were exactly right. Jim Ed. Good old Jim Ed.
See, that's where like the gray area stands with me in Red Sox history. Like the 80s and 70s, it's tough for me.
Well, I mean, you've got that. You proved. I mean, you answered that question right away. And if you're not watching this episode, I can assure you that Dante did not look on his phone. He didn't look down.
Oh no, hands free.
Type anything. That's all him. So two out of 3 in what, which, and where. Man, all right. Well, we're gonna go to the bottom half of the episode now. So if you have any questions for me, you can shoot.
Well, yeah, I want to ask you this. Now, you coached freshman baseball at Whitney Park. Obviously, you were my coach. One thing I wanted to ask you, I figured it'd be better to ask you on an actual episode rather than privately, but one thing in your very first year coaching, what is one thing that you learned as far as playing time goes with kids?
As far as playing time goes with kids, the best thing you can do is be as honest as you can. And from me, this is one thing. If I'm going to keep a player, okay, I am going to find a spot where he can play, okay, during the game. Get him in at some point. A lot of what I see Joe Madden doing with his teams. If he keeps a player, that guy is going to play. Now, barring circumstances, discipline and stuff like that. That's not, I'm not saying that, but if I'm going to keep a player, whether we kept a roster of 17, 19 or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
It's my job. I'm saying this player has value, all right? So I am going to play him regularly. Doesn't mean every single game, okay? We have 15 games, but regularly. If there's 15 games, I'm trying to get him in there in 10 of those 15 games. Now,
right. So you're saying it's got to be like kind of the right place, right time type deal?
Yes. But you have to visualize and plan for that. In
my first year coach, we had a lot of real tight games, like a lot where I got to keep my best 9 on the field,
And that's tough. That's tough to
happened
do.
a lot.
It's not easy, but that's always my thought in terms of that. If I'm going to do this and I'm going to keep this player, I'm going to play him regularly.
I like it.
Not saying start, not saying him play him.
No, but find a role that that he can plug into, and he ultimately can help you guys win. I'm with you.
And the other thing is be honest and communicate.
Communication, man.
Constantly.
That's the thing.
Constantly. So did I answer that?
I like it. That's beautifully answered.
Okay. Any others?
I got one. I'm going to hit you with that towards the end.
Well, we're kind of bottom half. So if you'd like to ask it now, go ahead.
Well, it's actually about like your pod in general, because I hosted a pod for a split second there, and I think what ultimately
and I want you to keep hosting that pod because people can hear he's very, very good and very, very well spoken, which helps him tremendously as a coach.
That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that.
It's also true.
One thing is that I think that had to do with it ultimately coming to an end is we didn't really know where we wanted to go with it. There was no real direction. It was kind of 2 mics and 2 dudes and just kind of, shooting the shit about baseball. That was it. My question to you is, what direction do you see your pod going in? Obviously, you've done over 50 episodes, right? You are definitely, this is a successful podcast. There's no question about it. What are some long-term goals, I guess you could say, you're looking for?
I'd like to reach more people.
Yeah.
I'd be able to reach more people with I don't want to say a bit more ease, but just to be able to reach more people with this.
Yeah.
And maybe ask the listeners more of what they want. I think I need to
Mhm.
use the Instagram, Facebook to ask them questions about, hey, what's something that you want me to address on the podcast, or um, somebody else that you would want to have on the podcast. I think I need to do a better. I like to do a better job of that, giving
Okay.
the listener more of what they want.
Are you on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube. This is going to be on YouTube. It'll be on iTunes and Podbean.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes. All three. All three.
I like it.
And I think, to go back to what you said in the beginning, you're not sure of the direction. Well, I think through episodes, through doing more episodes, you'll see the direction. The greatest perspective you can get through all this is experience. And the only way you get experience is recording these episodes. I found that in my first 10 or 15, couple of things. One was that I need to make it sustainable, meaning I couldn't post every single week.
Right.
That was asking too much. And if I did post every week, it had to be on I think I told you this in the beginning, every Tuesday, every Monday, every Wednesday. So people expect it from you. They know when it's sort of going to come out. And the length too for me, I think for me, and Joe Rogan is awesome. But
3-hour episodes.
He's unreal because he can just carry that conversation. And you're like that too. But
yeah, no, and that's something that I like pulled away from Joe Rogan. It's kind of just like, it's all flow, right? It's one thing
go.
next.
Just
and
go.
then you can revisit, right? He's never ending. Like, you'll listen to one of his episodes and you'll blink and you're 2 hours and 20 minutes into it, right?
Exactly.
It's crazy. And you don't even realize where the time went.
I just don't think I have those genes. So I try to keep it, 45 minutes and under. And that.
Yeah, but there's not, 45 minutes, that's a long time. That's put it this way. My commute to work right now is about 42 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's an episode right there.
Right,
That's
right
perfect.
it. So
it's perfect.
Just trying to make it, for me, more listenable.
You think it suits you better to keep these episodes kind of relatively short?
Yeah, for someone like me. Not necessarily you or Joe Rogan. I'm not saying that. But, but something to more of to fit your personality, I guess.
I like it.
Make sense?
Absolutely, sure.
That's just my thought. All right.
Before we keep going, do you think maybe we could do a little coaching philosophy, maybe?
Of course. You want to do that now?
So if you're down.
Sitting down. We'll be coaching philosophy while sitting down. Right.
I got your notes up in front of me. I'm kind of cheating a little bit.
Cheat.
One thing, I'm crazy about these two quotes that I pulled away. Well, one was from Coach Gary Gilmore.
The Chanticleers, Coastal Carolina, 2007.
Coastal Carolina. Did he coach Chris Sale?
No, Chris Sale went to Florida Atlantic.
I thought he was Coastal.
No.
Really?
Yeah. Florida.
See that? Like, that's a Red Sox statistic. I should know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bad job.
Now you do. I'm
I do.
100% sure that Chris Sale went to Florida Atlantic, and Coach Gary Gilmore is Coastal Carolina, Chanticleers. Chanticleers.
His quote was, "Build your culture first, then focus on winning."
Yeah, that was one of the first notes I took in that document.
It is actually it's the second one.
The second one. That really kind of struck me. Now, at the time, when did I write that? That was probably 2018, 2 years after they had come off a national championship. So he's not in a major conference, right?
Uh-huh.
And, that team won the College World Series. Obviously, you're going to be all ears because
you'll get fans, not even fans. They're not even college baseball fans, but they'll see on ESPN Coastal Carolina College World Series champions. Those eyebrows are going to the freaking ceiling because just like you said, they don't play in a big conference, right? That is a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, and he's been there for 20 years, and it speaks a lot to this. The clearest perspective you can have is experience. So if somebody like that is saying that, I think it served me well to write it down, and he obviously took to it. Build your culture first.
Yeah, no, it definitely spoke to me. No question about
it. Whether it's a system or a philosophy, make sure that is number one.
Yeah, definitely. The other one, we talked about it on the phone a few weeks back. The Billy Wagner one I thought was great.
There are a bunch that I wrote down, yeah.
coaching is about how well you communicate what you know with your players. It's not simply what you know. That's something that I pulled away real quick because I've kind of always had that reputation where, oh man, you know your baseball, you can coach, man, you'd be great at it. That's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's all, just like Billy Wagner's saying, it's all about how you can take what you know and put it into terms that fits that individual, not even just the team as a whole. Just individual. We're talking about a single player. I thought that was huge because my first year coaching, that was something where every kid was so different. They were all such different characters, you know.
You're dealing with
really
a lot
had
of
to change a
people.
lot, you know.
How can you communicate a particular point in several different ways?
Right. It was challenging. It really was. Especially, I was in charge of the whole team my first year coaching ever. It was like, it was funny how everything kind of unfolded. It really was. But I was just learning on the fly, man. I was learning on the fly.
From the frying pan to the fire. But you know, and you're still here, and you've got a zest for it. And obviously,
yeah, definitely.
Heard earlier, you have a why, and that is key. That is key.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I thought about a lot. We talked a while back, probably before that first season that I coached, which was 2018, or 2019, whatever it was. We talked about that. You initially said, you were like, man, you gotta, you know, start working on your coaching philosophy, write things down, and stick to it. You know what I mean? And just kind of, you know, it's a good thing to write things down. That changed a lot for me.
Yeah. Mike Hargrove.
You can't remember everything, you know. I'm bad with
that. No, remember that. Yeah, write it down. Then once you write it down, it becomes wisdom.
Yes, beautifully said.
Wisdom is powerful. Do you know who Mike Hargrove is?
I don't believe so.
So he was the manager of most notably of the Indians in the mid '90s when they had Almar, Bell.
That was a heck of a team.
Baerga. So. You know, someone asked him about a philosophy. He said, listen, stick to 3 or 4 things, okay? 3 or 4 things, and regardless of the situation, never deviate. Never deviate from those 3 or 4 things. So if that makes a bit more sense.
Definitely.
I think I wrote that in that coaching document as well. But
yeah, I'm sure
that might make some sense to you and stick a little bit.
One last quote I want to refer to.
Go for it.
I had one kid. He was actually a senior, real nice kid, and he came a long way in the season. Started out like, you know, his baseball knowledge was minimal. It was like the kid didn't really know much, and his big thing was he was a real big body, real strong kid. Didn't really know his own strength, but his big thing was when he went up to the plate, he got really nervous, way like. Real, just like that. There's no reason to be as nervous as this individual was, and one thing that I tried to stress to him, Dennis Eckersley, if you're nervous, you are alive. It's about embracing those nerves, right?
Yes.
Butterflies in your stomach. Everyone says, "Man, I hate that. I love that. That's what you're there for, man."
Right.
That's the idea.
Lets you know that you're alive, and there's I know I'm referencing a lot of people here, but there's another good podcast that people can listen to. It's called The Secrets to Winning with Dr. Brett McCabe, and it's referencing that. How do you have success when you feel like your player did in that situation? In spite of all of those nerves, in spite of the fact that your heart is in your throat, how do you succeed? How do you square that ball up? With all of those nerves. It's oftentimes it's not about being able to calm down. It's
exactly.
Able to hit in that circumstance. There's a Central Florida head coach, Greg Lovelady. What he does to simulate game situations and the players' heart rates is when they take BP live on the field, he pulls the turtle away, from the hitter, so they're hitting out in the open.
Ooh.
So it raises their heart rate a little bit. He'll have his hitters run all the way down the right field line and back, and then take a round of 5. So their heart rate is up.
I like that.
Or he has them do push-ups.
Yeah, just something to get the blood
just something to get their heart rate up. It's just some ideas of how people may want to deal with, the inevitable anxiety that comes with at a bat in a big situation, or making a pitch in a big situation, or any situation.
Anything, yeah. I mean, you have to imagine that if a kid gets nervous enough, his arms are going to turn into noodles, and right, he's just going to chase himself out of the situation. You don't want to see that.
So, in spite of, I mean, how can you? Essentially, it's this: how can you be at your best when you feel your worst?
Ooh.
And Dennis Eckersley, he said, "Hey, listen, if you don't have nerves, you're not alive." And that's a guy who had a lot of success for a long time.
Sure, and it's also a guy that led up probably the most famous home run in MLB history.
He did, and came out of the other side of it, and he was the '92 MVP.
Yeah, so, there you go.
And won a World Series the following year.
He won league MVP in '92.
He did, yeah.
Wow,
92, I think it was. Yep.
Pitchers winning MVPs, that's special, huh?
Mm-hmm. He had a good line, too, along with that. So referring to his fastball, he called it educated cheese.
What does that mean?
Educated cheese. Well, I mean, meaning it wasn't like flame, but it was firm and he could dot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Greg Maddux, man. And
Yep.
He never cleared 94 miles an hour.
He did when he first came up.
Maddux did?
That dude, I mean, he threw fuel. He did.
Really?
He did. But he learned how to harness it. If you watch the 1989 playoffs, the NL playoffs against the Giants.
Okay.
And he didn't pitch real well in that series, but you'd be like, who is this guy? Because he's throwing just absolute fuel. And it was Greg Maddux. Oh, we can see you now. Yeah. See you now.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
That's right. You got so locked in the conversation, you're talking to the dark.
Well, have you been on Twitter in the last couple hours?
I have not been in the last couple hours. No.
You have to see what I tagged you in, Prof. It was a kid from South Carolina.
Okay.
I don't know if he's been there or if he.
I mean, did he play baseball at South Carolina?
He's a lefty. You got to see this kid, Prof. He hit 102.
102.
It was a flame. I've never seen anything like it. I'm trying to just get the kid's name so we can just get it out there. Hang on here. Luke Little.
Luke,
you got to. I tagged you, so you'll see it eventually. But this kid's unbelievable. He resembles his motions actually kind of resemble Dallas Braden a little bit.
Okay.
It's kind of weird because Dallas Braden never threw 102. But man, this ball hits the catcher's glove, pops right back out. Unbelievable. Make sure you check that out.
Kid's got a gift.
Definitely.
Now, give the listeners a few gifts here as we end up the old podcast. All right.
Okay.
So we know all heroes don't wear a cape, but if you have the opportunity to take a 1-hour car ride with the following 3 people, who would it be? One of the 3 people. Would it be Kevin Millar? Would it be Dustin Pedroia? Or would it be Jim Rice?
That's not even a debate. You know my answer.
Do I?
Not even a debate. It's Kevin Millar by a long shot.
Yeah.
Talk about a fascinating personality.
You'd probably lock him in the car and wouldn't let him get out.
Seriously, I just might.
That'd be great. So what's your why? Why would you choose him over Pedroia and Rice?
Well, the thing with Pedroia is I'm probably a whole foot taller than him. I don't think he'd like me very much. And Millar, Millar, Pedroia?
Because you're tall?
Yeah, I got to have a foot on Pedroia.
Well, you're not getting into a fight. You're just having a conversation.
Yeah, but short people don't like tall people. That's definitely a thing.
You're a lot taller than me, and I don't dislike you.
Are you sure about that? You lying to yourself.
No, I don't dislike you because you're tall. The whole world's taller than me.
You dislike me because I'm a freaking idiot.
You're not an idiot. There's no dislike. I don't know where this is going. We're going to the next scenario. Fill this in. In the end, it's all about what?
In the end, it is all about. I want to give you a good one here. In the end, it is all about setting a goal and achieving it.
Setting a goal and achieving it.
Simple as that.
Achievable. Can goals be adjusted?
Absolutely.
Goals can be adjusted.
Absolutely, but only in one direction.
What's that? Up?
Well, you don't want to minimize your goal. You want to, if anything, you want to maximize it.
I'm going to raise the bar.
Right. That's all.
I like it. All right. And the last scenario, empty your pockets. Any further advice for the viewer or listener?
If you feel that you understand something, if you feel that there's something out there that comes to you easily and there's something that you could do to help young people, right? I mean, I'm talking from a baseball standpoint, but if there's something that you're confident in your knowledge and it's something that you think you can be good at it, go freaking get it, man. Just go get it.
Passion. Speaks to
passion, man.
Speaks to passion. Hey, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you?
So I'm on Twitter at Dante Steph12 and Instagram at Dante something. I actually don't know my Instagram.
All right. Well, go to your Twitter and spell out your Twitter.
Yeah, definitely catch me on Twitter at Dante Steph12. DanteStef12.
Perfect. Well done. This was informative, stimulating. It went to a lot of places I didn't expect, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you, Dante.
Thank you for having me, Prof. This was definitely fun.
Absolutely. So we'll wrap
and
up.
I hope to be your first 3-time guest.
Well, I look back at previous episodes, and I did see that your boy, your man, Don Lugo, has already been on 3 episodes. So we've got to find a way maybe to work you in a couple more times over the next few months if you're game.
And always down to shoot it.
And the thing about Donovan right now is he cannot be on podcasts.
I know, it's actually kind of a cool reason that he's not allowed to be on it. It's kind of cool.
It is.
For me, I'm unsigned free agent.
Dante Stefanelli. Dante, this has been great. Thank you.
Thank you, Profec.
This will wrap up episode 52 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Dante and I will talk to you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer. Because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.